lot of things usually is take them out. I told them to walk slowly because the Prime Minister doesn't want to be puffing.
No, yeah, that's what Mary said as well. She said, I'm moving my nose. And the box says me at one here, I'll puffing my way through.
I don't know, piping looks up there and lungs at the same time as well.
Yeah.
It's a cardiac risk waiting to happen.
I saw a lot of grease on the way between here and there. And it's just right inside walking down Last Street. And it looked like it was just made for it's a red flower sort of, yeah, like this design sort of running through. Yeah, I think so.
This is pretty cool. If it works. It's also a little creepy. Yeah.
Hi, hello. I'm just here with Carly. Yes. And she wants me to get some photos. Just standing there, jump in there, switch, and then we've got a couple of just for they're not too far away. It's a little bit of, waiting around. It's only 3. You're the only one. So I came with Richard and Helen are here as well. I'm just
Slideshow looks really good. Slideshow looks really good.
Yeah, we're doing that, yeah. Don't know why I haven't done it before, actually. Yeah, we've tried to fix it, but we can't. Yeah, it's really annoying.
I'll have a brief look for it.
So anyway, what I tried last night, so I usually find it like and it was those bottles of drink that you buy in a 4-pack. They often have for Joa and
Oh, sweet. Should have asked you earlier.
soda and rhubarb. Soda and rhubarb.
Rhubarb juice or...
Yeah, well, not rhubarb flavor.
That sounds nice.
It was nice.
You see in America the latest fad is just soda water with pure alcohol. It doesn't have any flavour, it's just pure water with alcohol.
So it tastes like alcohol.
So you get the alcohol, but it's healthy because everyone's drinking it because it's not fatty.
Yeah, well that's exactly. So here comes the bloody 5 earpiece. So, Johnny. Oh, she's the answer.
Hello everybody. I'd just like to say a warm welcome to Professor Harleen Hayne, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, and our editor of the Otago Daily Times, Barry Stewart. So I'd like to welcome Barry Stewart to the stage.
Thank you, Sophie. Prime Minister, members of Parliament, Sir Julian Smith, Chairman of the Board of Allied Press, Grant McKenzie, Chief Executive of Allied Press, University of Otago Vice Chancellor Harleen Hayne, the Mayor of Dunedin, Dave Cole, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, our Class Act Award recipients. Good afternoon and welcome to the 2019 Otago Daily Times Class Act Awards. Today, 57 pupils representing 29 schools are being recognised as the cream of Otago's secondary school elite in 2019. The pupils have been nominated by their schools on the basis of their achievements to date and potential for success in adult life. The only criterion we give the schools is excellence. It could be academic, sporting, social, artistic, cultural, or leadership qualities, or a combination of many, which sees a pupil nominated. Year 9 to Year 13 pupils are eligible. Class Act is an initiative of which we at the ODT are most proud. This is the 20th Class Act Award ceremony. About 1,120 pupils have graduated from our program, and of course, those here today were not even born when it all began. I actually feel a little old, actually. I've actually been involved in most of them. Well, actually all of them. So that gives you an indication. So we are proud that Class Act has established itself as a prestigious and valued part of the school year. We'd like to acknowledge and thank the University of Otago for its generous scholarship offer to our Class Act graduates. We believe the University of Otago is a world-class institution, clearly the best in the country, and offers the perfect environment for many of our Class Act pupils to continue to grow and fulfil their dreams. The scholarships are obviously a welcome springboard to the next stage of academic life for those who take up the opportunity. And we will also be delighted if this helps, keeps these outstanding young people in Otago. Class Act began because the newspaper felt, and continues to feel, excellence should be encouraged. The motto on our company's coat of arms is Optima Durant, which means quality endures. We believe New Zealand needs to encourage its citizens to set goals, to persevere, to achieve, to want to do their best. We believe people should be urged to always do their best, and that those types of qualities should be acknowledged and applauded. And that is the purpose of today's function. So I now invite you to acknowledge this year's recipients. So no pressure. You have all been identified as leaders of tomorrow, but don't forget to have some fun along the way as you climb the sporting, academic, cultural, business or even political ladder. But family is, of course, where it all starts. One of the great delights for us in introducing these awards has been seeing the pride and excitement on the faces of family members and supporters at these functions. That is where the foundations are laid, and that is also a measure of success. So mums, dads, and caregivers, take a bow. Well done. So success is not just measured by whether or not you make the front page of the newspaper, and often you actually would rather not be on the front page, but that's another story. We look forward to following the progress of these outstanding pupils here today as they follow their dreams into adult life. Hopefully you will all have read the inspirational stories in the weekend mix last weekend by Otago Daily Times featured writer Kim Dungy. Every year we report on the progress of our Class Act recipients. Kim tracked down the class of 2009 and we got an insight into how these young men and women were progressing in their adult life. They had some great stories to tell. Class Act is also a reflection of what Allied Press and the ODT strives to be. We believe great newspapers do not just inform, entertain, surprise and provoke readers. Great newspapers do not just report on matters of interest in their communities, lead debate and provide thoughtful opinion. As important as all those duties are, great newspapers are part of their community. I truly believe the ODT is a great newspaper. Now some acknowledgements. Pupils of Queen's High School under the expert guidance of the ODT's Barbara Trussler will be serving some delicious finger food after we get over the formal part of these proceedings. So we thank you for being here today. Thank you to the schools for their continued support and participation in Class Act, and to the staff of the Dunedin Public Art Gallery who have hosted 19 of the 20 Class Act awards. Also I want to thank our bagpiper from John McGlashan. The Class Act awards are quite a commitment for the Otago Daily Times, and I want to thank our management for their continued support. We have a great team at the ODT and many throughout the business in Dunedin and throughout the regions pulled together to make this happen. Special thanks to reporter John Lewis, who wrote the lion's share of the profiles, our regional reporting team, photographers, Gregor Richardson in particular, who all did a grand job in compiling our Class Act publication. That was of course in Wednesday's paper, so I hope you all got a copy of that. Incidentally, don't miss tomorrow's ODT for full coverage of all the news events of the day, including some exciting developments from the University of Otago, but most importantly, our coverage of the Class Act function today. There'll be lots of photos in there, and you'll be able to purchase multiple copies over suggestion. It's a fitting reminder of this special day. To the young people being recognised here today, please continue to aim high. You are, to quote cliche, our leaders of tomorrow. Unfortunately, our presentation has clashed with tournament week, so there are a number of pupils striving for excellence in other fields and can't be with us today. So that's a little disappointing, but we acknowledge their success. However, we do have a couple of Class Acts on the stage today. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, Right Honourable Jacinda Ardern, who will present the awards, is a Class Act and an inspiration. We're grateful for Ms Ardern for continuing tradition by appearing today. We've had the Prime Minister at each of our 20 Class Act awards, and we're certainly privileged that the Prime Minister of the day has been associated with the awards. We believe Ms Ardern's presence here is an honour for Otago and testament to the excellence of our young people. And speaking of leaders, it gives me great pleasure to introduce University of Otago Vice-Chancellor Harleen Hayne.
Engamana, Engadeo, Ro Rakatirama, Tanakoto, Tanatato Katoa, Norera, Ko Aio, Ko Harleen Hayne, Taka Wingoa, Ko Te Tumuakio Te Whariwanaka o Taka Aho. Namihi Nui Kia Koto, Norera, Tanakoto, Tanatato Katoa. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harleen Hayne, and I have the great privilege of being the Vice Chancellor of the University of Otago, and it is a great pleasure for me to have the opportunity to say a few words at the beginning of this Class Act celebration. I'd like to begin with just a few acknowledgements. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the ODT, and developing the Class Act scheme that recognizes the brightest, the most talented, and the most sporty and community-minded students in Otago. In particular, I'd like to acknowledge Sir Julian Smith, or Dr. Sir Julian Smith, who is one of our most recent honorary doctorates, and also Barry Stewart, who has really been the driving force behind the Class Act for such a long period of time. Thank you very much. I notice over here too, I'd like to acknowledge Claire Curran, David Clark, and Michael Woodhouse. The three of you always provide a huge amount of bipartisan support to the university in particular and to Dunedin in general, so it's fantastic to see you all here today. And I'd also like to add my words of welcome to the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Jacinda Ardern. Her presence here is really a very clear signal of the importance of today's events. And it really is an acknowledgement of how important achievement is to New Zealand more generally. And finally, I would like to acknowledge all of the families who are here this afternoon. As a parent myself, I know that success like this does not happen by accident. Your son or your daughter's success is due in large part to their effort, but it is also due to the huge amount of effort that each and every one of you have put in to lovingly looking after these young people. So congratulations to you as well. Now, I suspect that the Prime Minister might disagree with me, but I am pretty certain that I have the best job in the world. I have the privilege of spending every day of my life where the exceptional is really the ordinary. Excellence is part of absolutely everything that we do at the University of Otago. Our university ranks in the top 1 to 3% of universities worldwide. Our researchers produce more cutting-edge research papers than researchers in any other New Zealand university. Our teachers have received more Prime Minister's Supreme Teaching Awards than teachers in any other New Zealand university. Our students have the highest success rate of any university in New Zealand, and they also contribute literally thousands of hours of their volunteer time to this community of Dunedin. Each year, more than 5,000 young people leave Otago, not only with a head full of knowledge, but also with a heart full of amazing experiences that they will keep with them for a lifetime. Now next year, I know that many of you who are here with us this afternoon have signaled that you will be coming to the University of Otago. I congratulate you on your wisdom. When you come to Otago, you will become part of an outstanding group of academically gifted and talented students who come from New Zealand and throughout the rest of the world. The university is delighted to provide a scholarship to each Class Act recipient who is here today, which will be worth a minimum of $6,000. Now, many of you, because of the strength of your academic or sporting or cultural achievement, will also secure one of our higher value scholarships, up to and including our multi-year academic excellence scholarship and our performance scholarship. Now, for those of you who are considering Otago, I do have some information with me that you can find me later on about how you can apply for some of these outstanding opportunities. Now, for those of you who are still considering your options, I urge you to think carefully when you are making up your minds. But at the end of the day, whether you attend Otago or one of the other tertiary institutions throughout New Zealand, you are going to get an outstanding education. Because here in New Zealand, we really are spoiled for choice when it comes to tertiary education. And no matter what path you choose next year, I wish the best for each and every one of you. Now, in closing, to all of the Class Act recipients, wherever you go and whatever you do next year, I hope you never lose sight of the pursuit of excellence that has brought you here today. In the words of the great philosopher Aristotle, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Please accept my very warmest congratulations on your Class Act success. It's now my great privilege to introduce the Prime Minister of New Zealand, the Honourable Jacinda Ardern. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. katoa ngā mihi nui kia koutou, and Colleen, thank you very much. We can duel later as to who has the better job. Really, for me, it depends what day you ask. Can I acknowledge Sir Julian Smith also, and of course the editor of the ODT, Barry, for your long-standing presence with these classics and Act Awards and your advocacy of them. It's been my privilege to have been involved even just for 2 years. To my parliamentary colleagues, the Honourable Claire Curran, David Clark and Michael Woodhouse, fantastic to see all of you here as well. All of the principals, I believe 29 of which may be here, parents and caregivers, and of course pupils. And to each of you, my special recognition of the fact that you are standing throughout this ceremony. I'll keep my words to no more than 45 minutes. I just want to acknowledge as well the entrance that we had, which was particularly special. To be bagpiped into an event is very cool, very Dunedin, and very special. And if you serve cheese rolls at afternoon tea, I may never leave this place. This, as I've said, is my second year, and it is days like this that I do consider to be a genuine privilege to have the role of Prime Minister. These events are also quite jarring. Even as an adult, I can assure you that you can even question what you've done with your life when a group of young people have done so much in half the time. Or if I'm being honest, it's more like a third of the time. But I have to admit that, of course, my school days are starting to feel slightly further away than they used to, but they're no less memorable to me. And I do recall some particularly stark lessons that I learned when I was your age. And when it came to the idea of success and excellence and what it truly means, it was probably my brief foray into science that really sticks out for me. So I wanted to share a little bit about that. I was roughly 16 years old when I decided to take chemistry. I should add, not because I was a science genius, but because we had a ridiculous point system of sorts in those days that meant the grades that you could get in what was then called sixth form relied on the grades that your school generated in the year prior in what we called school certificate. Those grades were then allocated across subjects. So if you're in a small school, top grades didn't go very far, and it meant that in some subjects you could be the top of your class, but there was a ceiling on how well you could do based on how well the school had done the year prior. And you think NCEA has its problems. So to cut a long story short, I strategically chose chemistry. Now, my sister is a scientist. She has what I would describe as a scientist's mind. I, on the other hand, did not always display these traits. I did, however, discover that I have what I think I would call the patience of a scientist. And I discovered that through something called a science fair. Now, you might be familiar with the old display boards that are customary with science fairs, stacked around halls, containing every experiment under the sun. Some common favourites you might recognise include: how long does it take for a McDonald's hamburger to go mouldy? Or why does Coca-Cola make your teeth rot? But we were year 12s, so by now science fairs were a very serious business. And we had a serious chunk of grades relying on this assignment. So my friend Virginia and I, we partnered together to research the question that at that time had vexed the nation: why were our bowling greens going mouldy? And how do we save them? You may not have been in the key demographic for this vexing question at that time. So we found ourselves endlessly at smooth green turfs plagued with a rampant fungus, swabbing and growing the offending substance and trying to find a naturally occurring bacterium to inhibit its growth. I would spend hours in the lab swabbing petri dish after petri dish, stacking them up to see if we could find a solution. So after weeks of trial and error,
I returned to the lab one day to check the dishes I'd lined up, and I saw the usual outcome, fungus, 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 until I didn't. One dish was not like the rest. The small swab of bacterium I had been cultivating had managed to stop the fungus in its track. We had found a naturally occurring inhibitor. Thrilling, I know. Stay with me. It gets even more exciting. And it was just in time. We took the project to the East Waikato Science Fair, and at the prize giving at the Morrinsville Senior Citizens Hall, we took out the top prize. That meant we were heading to nationals. Success, at least so we thought. A few weeks out from the big day in Auckland, the national competition, I popped into our chemistry lab to find disaster had struck. The bowling green fungus had become top dog once again, and our winning petri dish was covered. We now had less to take to nationals than we started with. I remember calling my science fair partner in a blind panic. Both of us knew there was nothing that we could do but start again. And so we did. As it turns out, just days out from nationals, we did find a new successful bacterium. And we went on to take out the prize for runner-up at the National Science Fair competition. But it wasn't because we found a new winning formula. In fact, the judges told us that our success was based on one thing: perseverance. We experienced what it was like to have the patience of a scientist and to keep going. Now, I know we all get told this a lot, that it's not whether we try and fail, but whether we try at all. When I was your age, I would have said that was bollocks. But now, I absolutely believe it. Too often I feel we lack the confidence to try because our tolerance for failure or embarrassment seems to have changed. I absolutely understand that you live in an age in particular where just about everything is broadcast. It's liked, it's retweeted, it's shared. There is no reprieve from judgment. So in response, we make ourselves smaller and smaller targets. That way we never have to run the risk of shame or pain or humiliation. But just as much as we need you all to have a desire and a motivation to succeed, we also need you to never fear failure, to never seek or expect to be perfect, to be without compromise you. And you are what we are here to celebrate today. You're recipients because your school nominated you. They recognised your involvement and performance in a range of areas: academic, sporting, social and cultural, and that is an honour to be proud of. From rowing to music to debating to agricultural science, just to name a few, the passion and achievement that you're all shown in a variety of areas is impressive, to say the very least. But do not think for a moment that you are here because you are expected to be perfect. You are not. Whenever I speak at events similar to this one, I'm always struck by two things. One is how much hope I get from seeing the paths our young people are taking, and secondly, that we need you to be leaders of today rather than tomorrow. Now that doesn't require you to be flawless, but it does require you to be confident. I definitely don't have to tell you about the long-term challenges we need you to help us with, because it's you, our young people, that are most aware of what we need to fix, as well as the urgency that we need to fix them. From primary school kids to university students, issues like climate change and child poverty and the future of work, they all come up because you know them to be our challenges. My motivation to achieve progress and resolution on those issues come from the passion that I see from all of you on those very same issues. So, I encourage you all to soak up this moment, enjoy celebrating your hard work, but remember, be flawed, never fear failure, be confident and be brave. Be all of those things, because the world doesn't need small little targets who only exist online. They need uncompromising, unrelenting, unashamed you. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tucking myself in here. Thank you so much, Harleen and Jacinda. It was quite incredible. And now we're going to get started with the awards. Okay. So, from Bayfield High School, Ben Hayward. Eva Hoffmans. From Blue Mountain College, Liam Criglington. We also acknowledge from Blue Mountain College, Iris Van Baal, who cannot be here today. From Columbia College, who also cannot be here, Meg Sycamore. And Victoria Williamson. From Cromwell College, Maya Scott. And Logan Bell. From Dunstan High School, Lottie Rayner. And we'd also like to acknowledge from Dunstan, Tom Malaya, who cannot be here today. East Otago High School, Lauren Keane. And Hannah Patton. From Gore High School, Olivia Christie. And also from Gore High School, Sophie Stark. John McGlashan College, Nathan Harrison. And Shay Beach. From Cucker Valley College, Amanda Fivich. And Hamish King. From Kesner College, Sebastian Hook. And we'd also like to acknowledge from Kesner, Grace Apuai Bishop, who can't be here today. King's High School, Nathan Hasty. And also from King's, Duncan Robb. From Lawrence Area School, Hayden Hayward. And Amy Eason. From Logan Park High School, Alice Christian Page. Cameron Monteith. From Maniatoto Area School, Lucy Nielsen. And Amanda Boyce. From Mount Aspiring College, Flynn Rosie. And Jamie Topton. From Otago Boys High School, Colby Allen. And we'd like to acknowledge Jack Vargas, who can't be here today. From Otago Girls High School, Rose Stevenson. And Melissa Binney Casanas. From Queen's High School, Jordan Kittigan Martin. And Chloe Robertson. From Roxburgh Area School, Caitlin Johnston. And we'd like to acknowledge Sinead Forbes from Roxburgh, who can't be here today. St Hilda's Collegiate, Tamara Mason. And also acknowledging Olivia Hall, who couldn't make it today. St Kevin's College, Seth Humphreys. And Rata McMullen. From St Peter's College, Tom McKenzie. And also from St Peter's College, Grace Talitha. From South Otago High School, Ella Rose Lawrence. And Amy Selwood. From Tyree College, Joe Smith. Also from Tyree College, Laura Bungard. From the Catlins Area School, Logan Bird. From Tokamunido High School, Grace Michelle. and Krishna Patel. From Waitaki Boys High School, Thomas Fielding. And Alejo Linares Montona. From Waitaki Girls High School, Lily Stott. And we'd also like to acknowledge Molly Hurst, who couldn't be here today. Wakatipu High School, Archie Ritchie. And last but not least, Wakatipu High School, Thomas Hartono. Great, so thank you ladies and gentlemen for your patience with all of those names, and we might just give one last big round of applause for everyone.